Hi guys, I'm Erica. Welcome to Hack Your Health. Today I'm going to be interviewing ADAMIMMUNE, and if you haven't seen his channel, he has a really great channel about healing his autoimmune diseases, and he followed the autoimmune protocol, so not exactly the same as the specific carbohydrate diet, but the advice that he has and the information that he has on his channel is really relevant to people on the specific carbohydrate diet. So I would definitely recommend checking it out and subscribing to his channel. So I thought it might be useful for you to hear from another person their experiences healing. So I decided to interview him. So we can get started. So first, could you let us know what your autoimmune symptoms were?
Yeah. Well, as you know, like most people share 20, 100 different, immune symptoms. We all have a lot of the same things in common. But my main autoimmune disease was HS, hidradenitis suppurativa. I was stage 3. It's a really horrible skin condition. I don't really even want to go into it. It's just, if anybody wants to Google that, just Google HS, skin disease. That'll come up. But it was awful. Left me bedridden often, and just really difficult to move. It's the third most painful chronic disease that exists. So yeah, it was bad. So coming across the AIP and healing it natural, that was it was a miracle for me.
Yeah, I think that's very relatable for people.
Yeah.
Because no matter what autoimmune disease you have, it seems like they're generally painful and make you exhausted.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I shared all the common ones. Yeah, exactly. But
yes.
I mean, we're all fatigued and achy and brain fog and just all the great stuff. Exhausted, unable to we all have our boundaries, so all that too.
Yeah. Yes. So, did you go on any medication for it at any time?
Yeah, I mean, back in the before time, I was on all the pain medications and all that, and I noticed, after a while that was actually making me worse. But when I was first diagnosed, my specialist put me on antibacterial, or what am I thinking about? Clindamycin, all those, antibiotics, and dioxin, and all the other stuff. It helped for about 3 months. In fact, I would say it was more of a clinical remission, so just a major reduction in symptoms, and that seems to be the experience for a lot of people actually. But after 3 months, 3 to 6 months, that came right back though, full force. So that's why I don't recommend doing that. It just kind of wipes out your gut bacteria, and you're actually unable to actually do any major healing in the long run. So it feels great. People are suffering. They want something to happen right now, and I definitely understand that, but we gotta play that long game. So yeah, nothing helped me as far as medication, anything like that. Nothing helped me long term other than diet and lifestyle changes.
Yeah, I mean, that was my experience too. I was on medication for 3 months as well.
Wow.
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it seems to be very commmen there.
Yeah, and then after that, it
just stops working. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
depressing. Not for everyone.
Yeah.
But
that's true.
For some people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess the answer to this question might be obvious, but what made you decide to try diet?
Yeah, just suffering, pure suffering. I was in so much pain. I would have done anything. A lot of people say, they always ask, how do you stay compliant? How do you be so strict, Adam? How do you not, when you're in that much pain? So just pain is my motivation, mainly. Yeah,
I know what you mean. I don't follow strictly anymore.
Sure.
That was quite a few years ago. But that's what I said too. I was if you're desperate enough, then you don't care what you have to do. You just find something and you do it. And if it works, then you have very good motivation to keep going, because the alternative is just so much worse than what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
You're just the only thing I really don't want is, I know what you mean. Yeah. So did you use a food journal to track your symptoms when you first started?
No, but I wish I had. That was one of my big failures, and I tell people I really recommend that highly now to everyone because I didn't keep track. I had no idea what my food triggers were. I was just kind of going about it, just kind of like, oh, well, this might be a trigger, might not, and yeah. So
Right.
it probably took me longer because I didn't, unfortunately.
Right. So did you, once you realized that, did you then start, or did you find?
No,
like,
no.
You know?
It kind of became my world after a while. Like this is like what I do 100% in my head. So that's all I do
Right.
in my head. Like, yeah, if you're wondering what I'm thinking about, it's what are my food triggers? I know.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I am pretty much.
Right. I can relate to that.
Yeah.
So now, like, do you notice if you eat something that you respond to? Do you notice like a few days later, or?
Yeah,
Your
it
mental
depends on the
state,
food.
or-
Depends on the food. Some foods have like a longer delayed reaction. Some are like depending on the sensitivity level. But some foods, yeah, they don't show themselves for a few days or even a week. Like dairy seems to be a really long detox time. I'm not sure why. It just moves slow throughout our bodies. It seems to be pretty common as well with other people. Obviously, like I'm sure everybody's different, and foods are going to react differently for everybody. But yeah, for me, it just depends on the food. Like a grain, I'm not even as sensitive to like grains as I am like a nightshade or something. Grains would take me
Okay.
maybe 2 or 3 days to even notice, and eating them, multiple
Right.
times.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for me, it's lentils. I feel
Really?
are like, yeah, like the ones that are like the worst.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not as
So
sensitive
maybe-
to those, but yeah, that's like a 3-day food for me.
Right. Yeah, that's like a 2-hour food.
Wow.
No, but no, I'm kind of exaggerating a little. But
Gotcha.
yeah. Oh, that's a good. So the next question that I have is, do you find, or how long have you been on the diet actually?
I'm coming up on, gosh, I think it's almost 3 years, so not quite 3 years yet.
Okay. And do you find that since when you first started, you can eat like a wider variety now than then? Or do you find that it hasn't
Technically,
changed?
technically yes, but not I wouldn't say a wide variety. So I really want to say no because I've only like been able to introduce grass-fed ghee and black pepper, which most people don't even have to, eliminate. I didn't actually
Right.
eliminate it. I just found out that I found remission without eliminating. And then I was able to have pastured eggs as well
Right.
that I get locally that I know aren't fed soy. So I don't have a
Right.
wide variety. I basically eat the same way as I ate 2 years ago, probably a little more lower carb, but variety just wasn't my friend. It really still isn't,
Right. That makes sense. So you found that it's like you need to basically stick to the same consistent
Yeah, that's what's best for
elimination
me.
diet.
I know a lot of
Right.
people talk about, you need a variety of vegetables for your gut bacteria, and it's like, I'm over here like, well, I could probably eat 7 foods for the rest of my life, and I don't, like,
Yeah.
again, I have the willpower, so it doesn't really bother me all that much. So, I don't
Right.
know. I can have a lot of foods, but again, I can have a higher variety of foods and plant foods, but I have to limit those as well. So it kind of, to me, it's a negative eating a bunch of different foods. There's just no point in it for me.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was talking to my mom about that the other day because she also has Crohn's disease.
Oh, really?
And yeah, and she was talking about how she can eat like the same few vegetables,
Yeah.
but would never go to the store and buy like a huge variety of vegetables. She's probably going to watch this.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Hi, Erica's mom.
so yeah, yeah. So you're not the only one, and
Yeah.
yeah, I found that too. At work, I get food, like we get food there, so I don't get to choose as much what it is.
Yeah.
But at home, I do the same thing. I eat like basically the same food all the time,
Yeah.
and feel a lot better than when I eat like 2 different kinds of salad and XYZ other things.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Consistency
in one
just
meal
works.
or in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and do you find, this isn't one of the questions that I had in mind, but do you find that the amount of fiber in the food affects you? Like,
Oh, definitely.
do you find that,
Yeah.
and how?
It's depending on the, I don't want to say it's just the fiber. It can be, and the certain amount of fiber, but I also think it's the type of fiber from the food. So, some are just harder to digest, like garlic or onion and FODMAPs and all that stuff. So, yes,
Right.
I do think a certain amount of fiber is too much. And I don't even think I know the paleo mom hates me on this, but I don't think we need as much fiber as they try to push on us, especially if we're not eating. I feel like those people that need fiber are those same people that are eating grains and, lots of legumes and things that we weren't really designed to eat, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too, and I feel like maybe, like, when you just eat regular food, it'll just have the amount of fiber that the food
Yeah,
would naturally have.
exactly.
But when you remove the fiber, like you remove it from sugar or wheat or even rice or something, maybe you need to eat
certainly.
fiber along with those to balance out, but if you're just eating meat or something that doesn't naturally have fiber.
Oh. Yeah, exactly, and that's
seem like
what the
you really
carnivores
did.
experience, and they talk about all the time. They're eating. There are some of them eating a zero fiber diet, and they're doing just fine. And they had Crohn's, and they're in remission.
Right.
Of course, then there's the question of, are they actually healing it, or are they just managing it? But I fought that question myself over the years. So, who knows? But hey, for some people, managing that's
Yeah.
better than nothing.
I mean, yeah. Well, exactly. And since they tell you it's incurable, the only thing you can be in is remission, technically.
Yeah.
But if you're in remission for the rest of your life,
Same as a cure,
I
basically.
mean,
Yeah.
it's just a technical
Yep.
vocabulary difference, but your life quality will be the same.
Yep. Exactly.
But I'm not trying to say that it's a cure or whatever, because nobody really knows.
Right. There's a lot of
And
theoretical stuff going on here, especially with gut microbiome. It's so complicated.
Yeah.
I know I don't have a full grasp on it yet. I do my research every day, and I feel like just a child looking at algebra or something. We're working on it. I know.
I know, me too. It's like, especially because your body can create antibodies to its own cells, and it's like with a vaccine, like the antibodies don't really go away.
Right.
Where some vaccines seem to last 10 years, or you don't know.
Yeah.
What your
There's so
body's
many things that
already
play
done.
into it.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I don't know either, but you can go by just the results, right?
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. And people are getting great results on a low fiber diet too, and I don't know many people doing a high fiber diet and seeing great results, but I'm sure they're out there. I'm sure they are, I guess.
They are in vegan, short-term veganism.
Yeah, veganism.
Moving on.
Yeah, thanks.
Do you find that there's any social challenges to eating this diet? And did you find that you made new connections, or that you couldn't socialize as often due to the restricted food?
Yeah,
And
definitely.
So what's your experience been?
Well, social. God, yeah, diet plays a huge role in our social kind of play, our life. Not able to eat out, it kind of sucked at first. But then you get used to it, then your friends get used to it, your family gets used to it. I guess all families are different, so I can't really speak for everyone, but for myself, I'm very blessed in that area. I have very close friends and family, and they understand completely. And, of course, they look at my results and they're like, well, hey, man, you shouldn't even eat out, So, but I'll go out and eat with them anyway. And, I used to care what people thought so much, and I think that plays into, like, for most people, that's going to be probably a big hindrance, because they care what people think, and they're like, oh, what are people going to think? Oh, I'm not eating, whatever. I don't care. I used to, but I just don't anymore. I'm getting too old for that. So I just, sometimes I'll pack my own food and go in a restaurant. If anybody asks, I'll be like, well, I've got so many allergies, man. I can't die. I don't want to. You don't want me to die here, do you? So I'll just eat my coconut butter or whatever I'm eating. So I just don't care anymore, honestly. But the social aspect is huge for most people. I definitely understand that.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Because especially now people tend to, there's a bit of like laughter or judgment about gluten-free, I find.
Yeah,
People,
like they don't
rolling
believe
their
it.
eyes.
Yeah,
And
they think it's a fad.
Yeah, exactly. So, but then again, the people that need to do it understand.
They have to. Yeah. And there's people
Yeah.
that aren't as sensitive, and other people aren't going to
Yeah.
understand this. Like, you may not be a full-blown diagnosed celiac, but you can have some gluten intolerance, and maybe you're not even as
Right.
sensitive, and you notice. Then a lot of people just aren't going to understand that unless they go through it, unfortunately.
Yes. And you hope that they don't go through it, because it's quite horrible.
Right?
But, yeah.
Yeah, on a
Did
human
you
level, you
find-
don't want anybody to, but yeah.
Yeah, unless they're really awful to you.
Yeah, then get them. No.
Yeah. But did you find, like, I found that since I had to try to seek out different foods, like, for example, I started going to farmers markets and stuff like that to find more local meat, especially, and met quite a few people. Do you find that it's also connecting you as much as it's also making discomfort? Or do you find it's mostly just around eating out?
Well, yes. Well, I'm in a really very rural area here. Well, yeah, and it's very small town America, and there aren't very many options here anyway. So I have to order all my stuff online basically, or drive
right.
like hours to get anything. So sourcing is a whole nother problem, you know. I'm working on that right now, trying to find good sources and stuff. But yeah, as far as finding connections here, there just really aren't any. Even in the middle of Kansas here, you would think, oh, there's grass-fed cows everywhere, but no, they're getting shipped other places. They're finished on like grain, and I just don't want to eat that. And if I do, it has to be very lean meat. So it's a weird thing. There aren't very many options here where I'm at specifically.
That's really interesting, because you'd think that in a rural place it would be easier than in a city.
Yeah, you really would. Yeah.
Well, hopefully you find.
They just haven't caught on to the whole sustainable grass-fed
Right.
thing here. I really hope they do soon.
Yeah, me too. I mean, when I started the diet, I was on an island. Like, there's tons of hippies there, so it was really easy to find. So that's interesting to hear, that even in some rural places, they don't have grass-fed beef. Like, I never really thought of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I can drive a couple hours and get some decent quality, but it's, you know, that's tough all the
Yeah.
time. So
Definitely. I mean, I could do that too. Like, I could get to a farm in 2 hours. I'm like, that's a long time.
Yeah.
When you have things to do.
Thank God we have cars
Yeah.
and stuff. But yeah.
Okay, so, oh yeah, and another question is, did you change other lifestyle factors? So for example, did you start meditating or change hygiene products like soap and shampoo and things that contact your skin, or allergens or anything? Yeah.
I'm not as like sensitive to like chemicals and stuff. I know a lot of people are. I did change my health products. I guess you could say, like shower things, shampoo. Well, not that that's a big deal for me, but
Right. Yeah.
I did change some products. But you know, I'm finding I'm not as sensitive. It isn't as big of an issue for me. But I know for some people, like, you know, that could be the major thing. You know, that could be like the major cause or the root cause for some people. I definitely don't want to rule that out for everyone.
Right.
For me, it happened to be diet. But again, there are so many other environmental factors. Yes, I did have to change other lifestyle things. Sleep is a major one, and I've always been an insomniac since I was very young, and I think that probably played into my root cause as well. Sleep is probably as big a factor as diet is. I didn't want to say that in the beginning.
Right.
Early on, but I know it's true. You know, like if you're not sleeping, you're not healing. Your hormones are never going to be balanced.
Right.
So yeah, I have to get a certain amount of sleep every night, and I notice if I don't, like I'm gonna have, like, let's say if I have a little bit more stressors, I'm gonna be easier. There's gonna be easier time for me to find a flare. I might actually have symptoms because of that.
Right.
So it definitely regulates stress. Even if I'm stressed, I'm good if I get enough sleep and my diet's on point and all that. But it's just like one piece of the puzzle, you know.
Right.
But I have to get enough sun, and yeah, there are tons of other lifestyle
Right.
things.
And you changed those around the same time as diet? Or did you kind of one by one sort of to change things?
Kind of one by one. I did diet first, and I noticed a huge impact. And then I'm like, oh, I gotta get all my life things on point. I gotta turn my life around. I'm a mess, and
right.
and then yeah, that's kind of when I found remission. So
that's cool. Yeah, because I have that too, where it's like I don't want to present it as if diet is like the only thing, because I feel like even if you do the right diet, which is enough for many people, a lot of the time there's other factors as well.
Yeah, certainly. Certainly. And there might be mold in somebody's house, and that might be the root cause, you know.
Yeah.
There could be so many issues. So I definitely don't want to rule anything out.
Yeah, that makes sense. So then I also had some kind of psychology questions that I was curious about.
Okay.
Because
sure.
Well, for the first one is, did you find that your mood, and actually it could be your sleep too, did you find that significantly changed when you started the diet? Like... Yeah,
definitely.
So...
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, finish what you're saying.
Okay, so I was just going to give, like, my example, since I'm reading this, which was that I noticed, like, after about 2 days, and particularly after someone gave me sauerkraut, which sounds really crazy, was that after not feeling happiness for a long time, I started to feel happy, and nothing else changed except for my diet. So I felt like the change in that, or the microbiome or something, changed my mood. So I was just wondering if you had a similar kind of experience.
Yes. Well, as you know, I'm sure you've researched it. All these foods have such a huge impact on our mental capacity. These foods have a way of crossing the gut-brain axis, and they actually can change the way we think. It's the same way for like sugar, changing our behavior of our brain in a negative way. These other foods have positive benefits, and there's tons of studies on those as well. So we actually know that's happening now. There's some misunderstanding with it, but we need our gut for that. And I did find that my mood was better. I would call it more of a stabilizer. I was always a happy guy, probably stupid happy, but there's probably other reasons for that. But yeah, I would say just becoming no mood swings, just staying stable all the time, just not having ups and downs for sure. I would say a lot of factors played into that, not necessarily... you said it was sauerkraut, so maybe a fermented food. That definitely plays a role. But I would say also not eating certain foods can have that same effect, like foods that affect our insulin and blood sugar for sure. So keto for sure was a big factor in just finding some level ground mentally and just trying to be a rock, I call it, you know. That's tough, just mental, you know, that's almost as hard as weight loss or anything else, just trying to be mentally stable in this modern world today. So definitely food is a huge factor, and it was for me.
Sorry. Yes, I agree. My phone or my camera stopped recording for a second. That's what I
gotcha.
Yeah, I found that too. Like the ups and it could be that thing with hangry, where that seems like it might just be if you're eating like carb based mostly. You have a lot more ups and downs, insulin and blood sugar.
Yeah, definitely.
And maybe when you eliminate that kind of thing, your just general feeling is more stable. Yeah. Yeah.
And fermented foods do help control, they do help control glucose, so there could be some, double-edged sword action there as well, so hard to say.
Yeah, and then the serotonin thing, where like most of your serotonin is in your gut. So I thought that maybe, because that's also used in mood disorders, maybe if your gut is just too damaged or disrupted or whatever, it's just not regulating your serotonin properly, potentially.
Yeah, that could definitely lead to chronic disease and all kinds of things. Or chronic depression, I mean.
Yeah, that's just
not working out too, but
not working out.
For sure.
And you can't really work
I noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say the number one thing that helped my mood overall just feel better, as far as like mentally, I would say just when I started walking every day. That was probably one of the number one things that helped me with that.
Yeah, that's something I do too. So, I do that too. I walk every day too, and that helps me too.
Awesome.
Which also helps you process thoughts, I find.
Yeah,
if
definitely.
You walk, like if you're working on an idea or something and you go for a walk.
Yeah,
that's more
I do that before video.
Diet.
Yeah.
But I think part of it is to find what's in common between different people who had success, because it might not just be only diet. Like other habits are important too, like the sleep. Okay. So
definitely.
Then, so the next question is kind of like it's not diet related, but one thing that I found that I related to was this concept of like the too nice personality. So this is something that I first encountered in like Gabor Mate, and it's basically kind of repressing anger or turning it towards yourself instead of expressing it, or not having healthy boundaries, sort of. And basically it could be that your immune system is a reflection of your mental process, the kind of mind-body connection where you're mentally attacking yourself or turning your anger towards yourself, and then that does increase your cortisol levels as well. It does have a physiological effect, right? Because your emotions are chemical in the body somehow, right? But anyways, I was just wondering if you related to that personality type, or if that just seemed like totally ridiculous to you.
No, it's definitely not ridiculous, and I can certainly relate. I think most of us probably can on a some level, but I would say yes and no. As far as all stress will sort of play into that in some way or another, and I would say people stress. That used to be a factor, not anymore as I've gotten older. I just don't care what anybody thinks, so whatever stress they've tried to put, like say you feel bad for not doing things, you feel like you have to overexert yourself for someone, to save them. I don't do that anymore.
That's exactly the thing.
Yeah, I don't, honestly, I have to be my number one priority.
Right.
My health comes first.
Right.
And I don't have a problem being selfish anymore. I certainly used to.
Right.
But I have to put myself first, and because I have to feel good, and if I can't feel good, I can't do anything. But I'm also able to do more and help more people now that I feel better. So, there's kind of a balance in there. But also, I can relate, I don't have anger issues. I know a lot of people do, probably, from their childhood or different things. In this modern world, that's easy to happen, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very hard on myself. I've always been very hard on myself. I hold myself to a higher standard on things, and that's probably why I'm so strict with my diet and stuff, because I have to be so hard, because I feel like this. Now, this probably plays into this somewhat, but this is how I feel right now. I wasn't always this strict because I was addicted to food, and that always lingers in the back of my mind, like, if I am not 100%, I'm going to fall back into that, who I was in the before time. And I don't like who I was in the before time. I like me now. I think I'm a better me now because of this lifestyle. I am hard on myself, and I'm trying to ease up as I get older. But ease up doesn't mean be less strict. It just means like, hey man, you can understand why we're going through, certain stressors or whatever. But
like it's more like self-compassion, I think, than changing your outward behavior necessarily.
Yes.
Maybe like, because I had that too, where things were okay for other people, but I had to do better than that or something. Like more critical
we have
of
compassion
myself.
for others, but we have to learn to do that for ourselves.
Yeah, and that's interesting because. I don't know what it's like in the general population, and then compare it to like people with autoimmune diseases, right? But what the association is, but it does seem to make sense, especially because a lot of that you feel it in your gut. I found at least.
And a lot of these autoimmune people, we're not able to do things like other people are. So maybe we have more time to think about these introspective, natures of ourselves and things. So I'm sure that comes into play as well. I had a lot of time to think. I was just, in bed. I couldn't move. So I was trying to think, well, how can I better myself mentally, or, so, if you're feeling great and you're just, out there and you're athletic and doing that, you probably don't have a lot of time to think about these things. So not to say everybody athletic is, simple or anything. That's certainly not the case.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
But maybe just having more engagement with the world. You're not alone with your thoughts as often.
Yeah, that could be a dangerous thing.
Yeah, it totally can. Yeah. It's kind of another double-edged sword where you have the reflection, but then you also have the difficulty of needing to reflect so often, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. I try to keep myself from just thinking about things, that leads to anxiety, and I've had issues with that my whole life, so I try to not tread on things.
Right.
The best I can.
That makes sense. Okay, I just need to look at, my second page didn't print.
Oh.
Okay, so then another question that I was just curious about is what inspired you to make a YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people heal, but they don't tell anyone. So why did you decide to make a channel?
Well, let's see. There's a couple of reasons. If I'm being honest, there was some selfish aspect to it. I love doing it. I was doing it in the before time with a buddy, and we had a YouTube channel. It was really dumb and nothing important, weren't helping people. So I just enjoy it. I enjoy making videos, and I spent my time learning that. But the real reason why I continue to do it, for me, just seeing any hope in the community of healing was just profound. Like any amount of hope was just so inspiring, and it's what kind of sparked my fire, and it kept me going. So I know.
Right.
I just wanted to put out just a little bit of hope into the world to say, hey, food, food can heal you. It matters what you eat, and I thought that was such a simple thing, and I thought everybody knew that, but it turns out so many people are like, I didn't know food was causing my issues. I didn't know, and just that just lights my fire to just keep going. It's just all about hope, and I know you're the same way. I saw a video where you're talking about you just want to give hope to people, and I certainly can relate to that. So. Yeah,
because you feel so much of your own sadness or something, and then you think about all the other people that are having the same thing. I mean, I also like making videos. I mean, else I wouldn't do it. but there is that where it's like you feel like you want to contribute something to somebody who's in the position that you were in, and somebody told you at some point somehow.
Yeah.
I found it through YouTube, so that's why I decided to do YouTube, because I was like, okay, I should pay forward, right? So.
Yeah, for sure.
But if nobody had ever talked about it, you wouldn't know, so.
Yeah. So we have to get it out there. It's kind of, it feels kind of like a duty, but it really has, and it's going to sound sort of, I don't know, cliche or whatever, but it feels like I found my purpose,
Right, yeah. It's true. Yeah, because a lot of the stuff you do in life, it's like, this is never really going to matter.
Yeah,
realistically, it doesn't really
it's
matter.
Productive,
if you try to help people, then you can say, when somebody says, oh, you helped me, then you can think, well, that really matters, right?
Yeah, you made a difference in the world.
It feels good too.
Yeah,
and hopefully that makes sense. Probably the answer to this is also obvious, but how do you feel about your decision to use diet for your autoimmune disease?
Best decision I ever made. Best decision. I mean, by far, I've done so many stupid things in my life that, like we said, didn't matter at all. And here I am, I changed my diet, my lifestyle, and I'm like, I don't want to say I healed myself. I did, but I'm in remission, if we want to be technical. And my symptoms are gone, and my life is I have a chance for almost a normal life. I still have boundaries, because I have to watch my stressors, but yeah, I can live an almost normal life. It's amazing. It's a miracle.
Yes. Yeah. And it's almost better in a sense once you've healed it and you've learned all that, because who knows, like that stuff's useful not just for your autoimmune disease, but just for your life in general, I feel.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the lessons that you need to learn or whatever.
Yeah.
And then what advice would you give to people who are trying, like just beginning to use diet or considering it for the autoimmune disease?
Honestly, I think the best tip is just to dive in. Just start like today, now. Don't wait till don't pick a day off the calendar and say, oh, I'm going to start whenever, this hits, and whenever somebody's out of my house, or whenever I'm finally done with this. Just start, and you will learn everything along the way, I promise. Just dive in. Don't wait.
Yeah, that makes sense. Or like, I'll just eat all the food that's already in my cupboard and then I'll start.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you might set yourself back 6 months doing that. So just be your best self now. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I did that too. I read the book and I started the next day.
Oh, very nice.
That's it.
Yeah.
But I was totally desperate.
Yeah, I
which a lot of people are.
Yeah, for sure.
So, that's very good advice. Don't think about it, just do it.
Yeah, just do it. You'll learn.
It's usually not very good advice.
Yeah, a lot of things it's not, but I mean, God, with Google and internet, I mean, we can learn anything, and anybody can master this. I mean, I'm just a simple guy, nothing special, and I learned all this and mastered it, so anybody can. I 100% know that.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was a vegetarian and all these other things.
Yeah.
And honestly, had to relearn pretty much everything, because I was afraid of salt and I was afraid of cholesterol and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are. Most of us.
Yeah.
So,
there's a lot of bad science out there. A lot of bad science.
Yeah. So it does at first seem like, how could that possibly be a good idea?
Right. Exactly.
Right. But then you start doing it and you're like, well, I feel better, so
yeah,
there's got to be something to it.
Yeah. Self-experimentation. That's what leads to success, I think.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, because it's true. If it doesn't work for you, then you can always just stop.
Try something else. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, do you have any other thoughts that you would like to add?
No, I think you covered all that. That was great.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. Great job. And yeah, thank you so much for being interviewed.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And thanks. And everyone should go check out Adam's channel to hear more about his experiences and knowledge and everything else that he shared there. Cool. Well, thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.